Hi, everybody. How you doing? It's Linda G, and I'm here with Sterling, your favorite.
Good morning, everybody.
People look
Good
so
morning.
forward. Thank you for bringing in your questions, and thank you to Linda, Sterling's wife, who goes through them, and Daniel, who types them up for me.
Absolutely, yeah. All good work.
Yes, thank you.
So, I was going to tell you a really quick little story. I think that's kind of interesting how guides and angels and everything work together, including your team and my team. So, it's a quick little story I think is interesting. I read for somebody about a month ago, and during that session, this was a woman. She was having difficulty in life and even having some interactions in her house with things moving and somebody trying to get a hold of her. And what came up in the session, I said, that's your mother trying to resolve some things with you. And she really wants to get your attention, let you know that she really loves you and really trying to get your attention. And this lady that I was reading in the session said, oh my God, oh my God. And I said, well, what's wrong? She said, I just had a reading from Linda Grindle like 4 weeks ago. And after the reading ended, Linda called me back 10 minutes after the reading ended and said, I just got to tell you, your mother's following me around the kitchen. She really wants to get your attention and she's trying to tell you she loves you and resolve things. So I thought that was kind of a remarkable story in the way that not only, our teams work together, but the way the spiritual dimension, her mother, our angels, guides, all work together to try to drive home the message. And sometimes in a funny way, we can be rather thick-headed, right? And not listen to the message. So this lady heard it from you and then heard it from me. And the mother was like, what do I have to do here?
I'm getting so many people say that's exactly what Sterling said. I mean, there's a lot of good psychics out there and good mediums. And, as I'm retiring, so I'm not doing it anymore. But I will tell you, Sterling is an excellent medium. Excellent. So, you're always
funny story.
Who do you recommend, and there's a lot of them I recommend. But I would say you're top notch, my friend.
Well, thanks. And that was a funny story. I had to relay it to you. So
thank you. Thank you for that story. So that's fun. Okay, we got our questions, you guys.
Okay.
Let's start her off. Let's get ready to rumble. Okay, what is going to happen between Elon Musk? By the way, I watched an interview with him today. He's very intelligent. And the Twitter board. Will Elon let right-wing people spread lies on Twitter, including Trump? Or will Elon just back away from the control?
That's a multi-layered question, but I'll tell you what I get on that. First off, he's all about algorithms and Twitter bots, and he wants to influence people regarding his businesses. That's what the intent is there, whether it's SpaceX or Twitter or anything else. But what I see there is that the Twitter board is going to fight any kind of a takeover with some sort of a white knight investor. They'll try to bring somebody in to fight it. And I also see that Elon Musk may be considering forming a new parent company for, let's say, if he was going to buy Twitter, a new parent company for Twitter, SpaceX, and Tesla. So he doesn't have to carve off so much value from Tesla to pay for Twitter. So long story short here, I don't see that Elon is going to go ahead with forming the new parent company to contain Twitter. And with that whole white knight investor thing coming in with the Twitter board, I think in the end, Elon's going to walk. That's what they're telling me.
That's what you're getting. Okay. I wasn't sure. I know he really is like, I don't think he's a Trumpster. I'm not feeling he's.
No, I don't
Trump announced he wouldn't be on Twitter with Elon Musk. So Trump knows.
Yeah, I don't. The intention for Elon is just all about his businesses
that makes total
influence
sense.
And all that. Yeah,
that makes, because he loves his space programs. He was talking about today on some interview about what he's planning for Mars and a place to live on Mars. And it's like, whoa, that guy's at. My son said he would go.
Right.
I said, not me. I'll pack your lunch, and that's about it. Okay, I'm over 65, retired with my federal taxes. Oh, and my federal taxes are outrageous for someone on a fixed income. The 45 administration took away most of our deductions and decreased the ones that were left. The means of the middle class is bearing the entire tax weight of the country. Will there be any type of tax relief for us?
I've seen this before, and I'm being reminded here again that really things are only going to change dramatically when the new minimum corporate tax rate of 15% gets implemented. So that's going to bring more money into the coffers. That's going to start to level out Social Security, school, housing, you know, a lot of things here. So we've got about 2 years to go here before we start seeing the effects of a corporate minimum tax
Okay.
of 15%. So I think that's when this is all going to start to turn around.
And then they'll kind of decrease the ones for middle income.
Exactly. So you'll see increases in Social Security. You'll see ways to provide for the homeless, and yeah, all sorts of programs here. Yeah.
Okay, but real quick, I don't know if this is on here, but do you see an 8.9% increase in Social Security next year, like they're talking?
I do. Yeah. Looks that way to me. Yeah.
And you know, these poor people living on just Social Security, it's barely a livable wage.
Right.
Okay, does the former guy 45 have any spies within the Biden administration?
Well, let's put it this way, for entertainment purposes only, there are people that are very friendly to 45 and to Russia that are still throughout the government. So they're let's call them friendlies. So they'll do whatever they need to do to kind of leak information. So yes, you know, they're there. Yeah.
I felt that really strong. I even felt that Merrick Garland is kind of going in slow because he's filtering out the ones that are tattletaling.
Yeah. By the way, I also get that one of the things Merrick Garland's doing that's not being shown in the media, he's throwing out what they call test information. So they'll make up an internal story. We think we have this story on, let's say a New York person that leaked this information regarding Trump, but it's like a phony story. They'll leak it and they'll track it through the CIA to see where it comes up. So
that makes total sense.
They're doing some tests here to see where the leaks are. Yeah.
You know, that's funny you said that, because I think I kind of flashed on that a while ago. I don't know if it was Garland, but I felt someone was saying something just to see who's, yeah. Will Biden remove all 3 credit agencies as he announced during his campaign? I didn't even know he announced it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's public and private enterprise and those credit agencies. But what I do see is him forming a new federal agency that has what they call a weighted credit score. So that takes into account pandemic problems, unemployment, large medical debt. And it's almost like they'll do something like almost like de-emphasize 2020 and 2021 and look more at a previous 4 or 5 year period and try to come up with a better weighted score. So okay. I do see that. Yeah.
I know even renting someplace or something wasn't counted, and your electric bill and stuff. So, but the credit agencies, I just saw in the news this morning, they even can go in like to NPR, who sells them the information about your paycheck, how much you make. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people got hurt very bad during the pandemic. So there's a need to kind of, what they call put weighting factors on your credit score. Yeah.
Right. Just like when there's like 9/11, anybody, the whole thing, they said anybody, you know, in New York they didn't even conclude it.
Right.
Okay. Easter weekend, my grandkids and my daughter came over to do an Easter egg hunt in our yard. We were inside and I saw someone go up the stairs, thinking it was my grandson, who's 7. I called out his name. My daughter said, "Mom, he's outside." It freaked me out. Who was that? I know I saw someone going up the stairs. Wow.
My team's telling me that was a family member, like a mother. That's a mother energy. So that was a mother energy that wanted to be around the event. So it's an adult, an older mother energy. Yeah.
Cool. John Eastman and Phil Waldron, 2 of the architects of the former president's push to overturn the 2020 election, are doing all they can to keep their records private. 37,000 emails. Will they succeed? And if they don't, when will the information be released? And what does it contain?
Yeah, and those were the individuals that that was the attorney tried to construct the way to kind of debunk the election, the 2020 election. I remember that attorney. Yeah. All that information is going to be out like in the 3rd quarter of this year. So they won't be able to stop it. It's coming out, and it looks like they're trying to find an attorney-client privilege, but that's not going to work.
Not going to work. I'm telling you, I always saw Eastman going down.
And by the way, I just being reminded, the reason it's not going to work is because it put the nation in peril. And if you put the nation in peril, like through some sort of a treasonous act or something of that nature, then attorney-client privilege goes out the window. So,
And working against the nation, I'm going to tell you, Abraham Lincoln, I was watching the Civil War again by Ken Burns, and I didn't realize that, first of all, the Supreme Court justice, like Roberts, but it was another old man, said that slaves were people. They have no rights. And then he said that Lincoln couldn't do something. He was going to do something like let the slaves work for the Yankees. And they said, no, you can't do that. He totally ignored them. He totally ignored the Supreme Court, which is surprising, but my son said they can't do that anymore. You can't ignore the Supreme Court anymore. They do have more power now. So,
well, in regards to that question, it's because it put the nation in peril. That's why they're going to release the information.
Yeah, but that's where they're doing with this next question, Marjorie Taylor Greene, about you can't do this kind of work she was doing and be in office.
Right.
So will Marjorie Greene be blocked from running for Congress?
What I see there are a couple of things. I know that she gave testimony, I think this last Friday. It looks to me like that legal case, that specific legal case won't go anywhere because of the way they're trying to pursue it. It looks like she somehow starts to get into office and gets pulled back, or starts running and gets pulled back. So as more information comes out here in the summer, it stops her from being able to run. So it's not the court case, but something coming in the summer.
I watched that thing, and I feel the judge did say she's a hostile witness, but I was feeling the judge he's gonna say, let the people decide. That's what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
But yeah, something's gonna come up with her. Bobart, I'm not seeing winning again.
No, I don't either. No.
Will the judge that overturned the CDC recommendations regret her ruling?
No, won't regret it. But I do see challenges still continuing the Biden administration to appeal that. So it looks like the Biden administration
but I
will be
also see
successful.
them wanting to get rid of her. I know it's hard to do, but she just doesn't have the qualifications. She never did.
Yeah, I think even the ABA, American Bar Association,
yes, they said she was
said this is not the right person to be a judge. Doesn't have the background. They did it anyway. So yeah.
So why can't the U.S., Canada, and other armies around the world go in and help Ukraine?
Well, yeah, I mean, that has to do with direct conflict issues with Russia, right? One nation to nation. But I do see very strong response coming up from NATO. So all those nations, I think there's 30 member countries now. There's 30. There'll be a strong response by NATO to Russia. It's coming.
Good. Will Jared Kushner's $2 billion Saudi deal blow up in his face?
Yes, it actually already has. The DOJ and it looks like even the FBI is already on to the transfer of money and what was behind it, the exchange of information. And this has come up before. There's something having to do with nuclear secrets for the nation.
Oh, he sold secrets. He sold them. He told them that the reporter that they chopped up was
for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he told them.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, Sterling. I've always seen him going to jail, Jared. I never saw his wife going to jail. I saw him, and I saw the other son, Junior, going to jail.
Son Junior, yeah, no, that's very true. There's a handful that are going to serve some jail time. There are. Yeah.
But it's interesting. Jared was not there for the insurrection, so it wasn't going to be the insurrection. It's going to be his deal with them. Okay, will the number of MAGA followers drop in numbers by the end of 2022?
To some extent, remember, they're a radical minority anyway, because they're a radical minority. So it looks like they could drop by a third or even half, but they're still a radical minority. So it's not a big factor, if you will, but they'll still be around. So yeah.
It's comforting. I don't know about you, but my clients that I read for, they're talking about family members that are actually changing their mind. They're like pissed off at him.
Yeah.
Okay. What does the future hold for Senator Mike Lee?
Well, you know what? A lot of this information comes out starting in summer here that he's going to be stopped from running. I think he appears to be the front runner in the GOP right now. I think something is in that area, right? Is that Utah? I think.
Yeah, Utah.
But it feels like he's going to get kind of stopped dead in his tracks by what comes out in the summer. So there's a lot of turmoil coming up for him. I think that's the question.
Yeah,
His whole campaign and the election is going to get disrupted by what comes out in the summer.
I love it.
By the way,
Entertainment purposes only.
I think he was the one that actually had a lot of direct text going back and forth with Mark Meadows,
Yes,
if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Right.
So that's all coming into more light. Yeah.
I love it. When will the January 6th committee hold public hearings?
Summer, like
That's what
July,
I'm
August.
feeling.
Summer, July, August. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get an extra package of steaks and hot dogs, put them on the grill, and yeah.
Okay, if we come back multiple times, do we keep the same personality, like dislikes, same values, etc., or does it change with each life?
Changes a bit. So I think the best way to describe that is if you're always a curious person, you still will be when you come off life after life. If there are certain fears you're supposed to work on in this lifetime, you'll come through with those fears, right?
Right.
Fear of loss of love or whatnot. So you do evolve. That's the good news. You don't take the same lessons lifetime to lifetime. But I find things like being curious or liking language or philosophy or sciences, you do take those lifetime to lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah.
The messages you receive are positive and reinforcing. Do you also receive negative ones? If you do you keep them to yourself?
Yeah, that question comes up a lot. Let me articulate in a couple of ways here. You know, the messages that come through from all the angels and guides are always uplifting, positive, based in love. They always are. Now, the messages may come through that may be warnings or try to get you back on your path, but they're never negative.
No.
You know, and that's the key. And I'm going to tell everybody out there, I think you know this, Linda, that if you see anybody that reports to do this kind of work, and you get something that's very negative or fearful, or they say you have an entity on you, or you have a curse,
no.
Run the other direction, because the other side never says things like that.
No.
They always want you to be on your path. It's based in love. So the answer to that question, it's never negative, but you may get information like, you know, back off on some area of your life to kind of put you back on your path. Yeah.
Right. In 10 years, where do you see Social Security payments for people who have no savings? Will they be able to live on it? 10 years.
And that's more of the same that we were talking about earlier in the show here. When that 15% minimum corporate tax rate gets implemented, it's going to put a lot more money in the coffers and increases. Yeah. So that's really what's going to happen. You know, a lot of major corporations paid zero federal tax over the last number of years, and they'll go nameless, but they're in the Fortune 500 for sure, and the Dow Jones. So yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna start paying
even
tax.
these oil companies, the CEOs are making tons of money.
Correct.
Love hearing from both of you. I had a reading by Sterling, which was spot on, and my friend just had a reading by Linda, which was also spot on. Oh, thank you. My question, a few years ago, I attended the James Van Prague large gathering in Southern California. There were many people in attendance. He read people who raised their hands. I was sitting far in the back, and he turned towards my direction and said, "There's a man standing behind you." The woman in front of me thought it was for her, but he said, "No, it's for you," and pointed to me. I was stunned and too scared to ask who was standing behind me. Do you know who was standing behind me?
You know, that the way that's coming across to me is it was like a father and a brother or something. It's like two men, not just one man. There was two men, which maybe what came through so strong. But it feels like it's a father and a brother standing behind her. And maybe she was not ready to kind of deal with that at the time, right? Too much emotional energy or something. So
maybe, huh? She paralyzed, you know.
Yeah.
Some people get paralyzed when psychics point them out.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, this is a good question. I'm curious to know what you see on Desantis and his threats to Disney, which have actually passed Florida Senate, but take effect in June of 2023. His threats to Twitter, is he going to cause any reversible harm to these businesses?
Also, like a multi-layered question there, right? So, that's the Reedy Creek Improvement District or something like that. It was 2 districts in Orlando. What I see happening there is that this is a move by DeSantis. It's almost like they say, cut off your nose to spite your face.
That's what I've been
So
saying
he
about
he
him.
he got in a saber rattling war. What's going to happen is a lot of people are going to come back to rational behavior because there's $1 billion of debt service has to be done if the government takes over those 2 districts, and it's something like almost $3,000 more in individual tax for everybody that lives in that district per family. So what I see happening is a big negotiation here behind the scenes to give Disney back some autonomy, and they're going to kind of negotiate. So it'll be a face-saving measure. All the, DeSantis say face, Disney say face. And I see that when the next governor comes into Florida, he's going to be very, very Disney friendly
Okay,
because he's going to work to try to increase hotels and entertainment districts, all the things that bring in tax revenue for the state. So a couple things going on here, but yeah, it's going to work out in the
I
end
felt
well.
Disney was like, pay no attention to the crazy man over there. It's almost like they're not even worried because people are saying, I hope they back up and move to such. No, they're saying, wait for it. They're going to put a lot of money into the new governor, whoever's
Yeah.
coming up with the new
The
governor.
interesting part about Disney is, and this is, you can validate this in the press, so I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. Most of the revenue for Disney is made on content, the networks, contents, movies, streaming. The cruise line, the parks are very low margin businesses. They're very labor intensive. So if you're trying to hurt Disney, hurting the theme parks is not the way to do it,
No.
because the massive amount of revenue is made on content. So just so they know, maybe just so Governor DeSantis knows that.
He's like, my state. Now, you don't own this state. They
Yeah.
can't come into my state and tell me. So he doesn't want you to say gay. And how it's almost like a child throwing a fit. He's like Trump that way. But here's some good news. There actually is on the books that he can't change any kind of big deal like that that's going to tax people unless the people vote yes on it. So he may say he's doing this, but it has to be put to vote.
We have 1 year to work all this out, and they're going to work a lot of it out. That's true. I was going to say something else here too. It's interesting that, it's really appropriate for every major corporation to develop a social conscience, not just Disney, but every organization. So the fact that Disney laid a stake of claim, put a stake in the ground regarding that bill, right? That was in Florida, that kind of abbreviated the Don't Say Gay bill. But it's very appropriate for every corporation to reflect what their social conscience is. So, and I think it's appropriate.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. But I know people are saying, oh, we love him. I got hit by bots on Twitter big time because I told somebody, wait for it. Let's just see. I don't think he's going to win this next time. Oh God, you don't know what you're talking about. So, and a lot of them had one follower or something, So, but do you see him winning again?
I see it's going to get very, very difficult for him because it looks like this is actually going to blow up in his face. This particular thing.
He cut his nose to spite his face. And I also feel some sort of scandal coming up. Okay, so do you see anything coming up in the next week?
I do. Significant NATO action, NATO response coming up in the news this week. You're going to see movement of a lot of arms and sophisticated weapons coming into Ukraine by virtue of help from NATO. I still see jets moving into Ukraine. So I see a lot of movement in that area. There's also a lot of international travel I see coming up for a White House team. I think it was in the news, so I'm not speaking out of turn, but it looks like Biden's going to head that direction. He won't be in Ukraine, but he's going to head that direction. And and I also see looks like more challenges by the Trump team to the DOJ. So you're going to see some new cases coming out this week of more throwing mud at the wall, so to speak. I see a lot of that happening. Yeah.
Is it true that who the people who are supposed to go to Ukraine that Zelensky announced? Because, I don't know why Zelensky announced it. I wouldn't have announced it. I'd keep it hush hush because you don't want Putin aiming their guns,
Yeah. Are you saying, is it true that
But
our
we
White
have
House
two
team's going?
American bigwigs going to
Oh,
Ukraine.
I do see that. Yeah, it looks like that's going to
Okay.
happen. This is all part of a larger NATO coordinated response that's coming up. So
Okay.
it's not being talked about a lot in the press, but you're going to see action very soon on behalf of NATO. So
Okay. Some guy was talking about Putin today that worked with him. He was an oligarch that he
right.
made a lot of money, one of the richest men, and Putin took everything because he
Yep.
didn't like him. He didn't hail to him. So, so he's gone. He said Putin's not in this to take Ukraine.
Mhm.
He wants to be the all powerful. He wants to say Mother Russia's got her land back. It's
True.
more ego. The more we push against him, the harder he's going to push back. So
Very true.
okay. And do you guys have anything they want to share?
They do. For everybody, they're just telling me that make sure you take the time to work with your guides and angels every day to manifest the perfect outcome, because you have the power both in your life and in the life of the world to manifest the perfect outcome. So for everybody out there that aligns themselves spiritually, work with your spiritual team to manifest the perfect outcome for you and the world.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, my friend.
Sure. And I always like to add just real quickly, if people need to reach me, it's just sterlingpsychicmedium.com and just look for the book a session tab. It's very easy. So
There you go. And you release a video too, your own Sunday video.
I do. We try to connect with
I
that
like
every
to watch
Sunday.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you got good videos, my friend. You are very talented with that. Me, I can barely just whatever.
Yeah. And I owe a lot to you, Linda. A big debt of gratitude and thank you for all the things you did, because you pushed me out there onto YouTube. So
I sure did. And I heard
Yeah.
you're busy as heck too.
Yeah. So, and I always told you, I said, I didn't mind doing a YouTube show, but I know it's a commitment. It's not just, turn on the
It
light
is a
switch. So,
commitment. And I realize because I'm old, but I can only do. I'm going to stop readings and just stick with YouTube, but I'll give away free readings on YouTube. So
I get it. It's all
awesome,
good. All right.
It's wonderful seeing you. Tell your wife I said hi.
I will. By the way,
thanks
for the flowers this week. They were beautiful for Linda's birthday.
Oh yes.
I'm looking at them right now. They were wonderful.
No, they're still alive.
They are. A big plug to was it Farm Girl Flowers?
Farm Girl Flowers.
Wonderful company, wonderful website. I have no affiliation with them, but they do a great job.
They do a great job. And the candy I sent you for your birthday, I heard you guys really enjoyed it. And it's Timothy Adams chocolates. Very unusual candies. I've showed the game. I got them from my friend Mark, who
absolutely.
So okay, you guys take care.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.